This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
A listener and a mother has gotten in contact with us because her daughter is not safe. Her daughter is a danger to herself, is engaging in dangerous behaviour and is being failed by the system. She is suicidal and has tried to take her life 3 times. And according to Anne, she has lost all faith in the system. I have to give you a warning. This is a shocking story. And if you are easily shocked, well, maybe you should switch off until after 11 o'clock. Anne, you're very welcome to 98FM.
How you doing?
Good, thank you, Anne. Anne, tell me a little bit about your daughter.
Well, up until a few weeks ago, my daughter was just a normal 17-year-old. She's just a normal teenager. But over the last couple of weeks, she has expressed that she wants to die, and she has taken action to commit suicide. And I know my daughter very well. She has never done this before. I've never seen her like this before, and I'm trying to get help for her. So at the moment she is in an adult lockdown in a hospital to keep her safe. That I went through absolute hell and back to get doctors to listen to me to take my daughter.
And they haven't?
At the moment they have her, but nothing is happening. I don't know what's happening. So if I just go back to, we're 11 days into this, and my daughter still wants to die. She told them yesterday, she said they were talking about releasing her soon, and she said to them, but how do I stop myself from killing myself?
So take me back to the start of this story. Your daughter is 17, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And up until the last couple of weeks, she was a perfectly normal average
girl. She's in college. She was doing well, doing okay for herself. But then I noticed, kind of behaviours where she was maybe a little bit down on herself, but not to the degree of what we're looking at here. I didn't have to bring her to a doctor. There was none of that. And then we have this extreme where she has smashed glass in her hand, crushed the glass in her hand, said that she wanted to die. I took her to a local A&E hospital. I was deeply concerned. I've never heard my daughter talk like this before, and the look in her eyes, she was vacant. There was nothing there in her eyes as she was talking to me. She was assessed in that hospital, and they decided after an hour and a half to send her home. And they asked me, was I happy to take her home? I said, no, I am not happy to take her home. She also turned around to them and said, what will it take, a rope around my neck before people will listen to me?
So tell me about her downward spiral over the last couple of months. When did you first start to notice something was wrong?
Well, she would have been sleeping quite a little bit more than usual. She was sleeping a bit more than usual. She was a little bit withdrawn from her friends. So there was kind of signs there, but nothing to be too concerned about. She was coming home every weekend to me, chatting away and seeing her boyfriends and just normal teenage stuff. So there was nothing where I went, oh my God, we have a problem here. The time I went, oh my God, we have a problem, was when she showed me her hands.
And what had she done to her hands?
She crushed the glass in her hands.
Oh my God.
It was awful. It was just horrific as a mum to see my daughter in that state. And then the next night she overdosed on antidepressants and Zyphine. The doctor had given her antidepressants 4 weeks ago. But I found out after he shouldn't have given her anything. But she should not have been on antidepressants.
Yesterday, you were speaking with a psychiatrist and he was talking about her returning home, and her answer to that was, but how do I stop myself from killing myself?
Killing myself, yeah.
My God almighty.
But, Adrian, that's not the full thing. I brought her to A&E after that overdose, and they still said she had to go home. Now, I forced their hand. I was in a lockdown with staff, and I asked for a social worker as well. I was in a lockdown from 5:30 in the morning until 8 o'clock the next day. And I said, I will not take my daughter home. She is not safe to come home. I don't know what she's going to do next. Because before the overdose, she cut her arms as well. I said, I don't know what is going to happen. And then I was in a lockdown up until 8 o'clock. Do you know what they did to my daughter? They put her out on a bench in A&E, and they said they were going to put her in a homeless hostel if I didn't collect her, instead of helping her with her mental health. That's how our family were treated.
Do you mind me asking what hospital she's in?
I don't want to name it yet because my daughter doesn't. She knows I'm talking to you, but she doesn't want to be identified.
But it's clearly not. It is clearly not a mental health hospital, is it?
Well, yeah. What they're saying is her age. They're saying because of her age, they won't see her because of her age. But put her somewhere where it's age appropriate then, instead of turning us away. Because the next night, my daughter was walking in a trance to the train station to lie on the tracks and kill herself.
Oh my God Almighty!
And my neighbour had to help me to find her. I didn't know where she was. And
the problem is,
in A&E the next night, they left her in A&E. Her friend was there because my son has special needs. He's distressed by the whole situation, and our lives have been just put into absolute chaos. And then the next day, I got a phone call from the hospital to pick my daughter up and to transfer her over to this lockdown for over 18s. So I went in with my son with special needs, and we were left at 4 o'clock that day. My son couldn't take any more, and I told him I had to leave. I asked for a social worker, and I said, what's going on? And they said they had to email or ring every under-17 facility in Ireland to make sure that they said no to a bed before they admitted my daughter to this over 18s, because she's now a special in this unit with a nurse sitting beside her 24/7, but with no actual intervention.
Okay, so the biggest problem here is that she is 17. Alan, sorry, I'm going to ask you to hang on the line there for one second, Anne, if you can, please, because I have to take another very quick commercial break. We'll continue your story in just a moment, and I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. And you're terrified, Anne, that they are going to release your daughter. And like I quoted a couple of minutes ago, yesterday she said, but how do I stop myself from killing myself?
Yeah.
What do
you think? The conversation she had. And, I also take issue with the fact that she's been interviewed by psychiatrists without a phone call to me, without permission, because I'm getting into her in the afternoon evenings, because my son has appointments as well. So I'm juggling between the two of them. But yet I had to sign for a paracetamol, but I'm not getting a phone call to say, well, we're going to interview your daughter now for an hour and a half. There's no communication. I don't feel like I'm being told what's happening next, what's happening. It's like I have to keep chasing up the information, that nobody has sat me down and said, this is the plan for your daughter. This is what we're trying to do. That has not been discussed yet. At the moment, they are stopping her from killing herself, which I am truly grateful for, but she needs the intervention. And I said to my daughter, do you feel any different? Every day I ask her, and she goes, sure, how would I, Mammy? How would I feel any different when they're just minding me?
What do you think brought on this deterioration, this rapid deterioration in her mental health?
I could harbour a guess at a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's guessing. It really is. Only she knows the answer to that. But what she has said to me when I've asked her several times, I've said, I love you. You know you're loved. Your family love you. And she said to me, all the love in the world won't keep me here, Mammy. I don't want my feet on this earth. That's what she's saying. My
God. So the problem here is that there is a serious lack of beds and facilities for under 18s, for minors essentially, to deal with mental health issues.
There's also a serious lack of listening when a parent presents to A&E with their child and sits there with a special needs child as well. That needs to be taken seriously. The hours we were in there, having to go back again to and from, begging for help. When someone is in that situation and crisis, to be believed and heard and not sent home. And my daughter was thrown out this diagnosis of personality disorder. Now, Adrian, the DSM-4 and 5 says you have to be over 18 to have that diagnosis. Mm-hmm. But it also gives professionals an excuse to turn the person away, because with personality disorder, they won't admit them. They'll say, oh no, they need outside treatment in the community. You have to have either psychosis or bipolar to be admitted. Those are the words that were said to me. And
okay, so to be admitted to somewhere like St. Patrick's, you need to be over 18.
For St. Patrick's, now they were lovely. I rang them. Do you know how much it costs for St. Patrick's? €28,000.
So you don't have medical insurance?
I don't think anybody in this country has that.
No, I mean you don't have VHI or anything, do you?
I don't. I do work in social care, but I don't. No, I don't. I don't have VHI. No.
So what now? Your daughter, as I said, is in a hospital that we're not naming because your daughter doesn't want to name it. It's a hospital I'm familiar with, but it isn't a hospital that has ever struck me as a hospital that deals with mental health issues at all.
Well, there is a unit there. There is a unit there.
A small unit.
That lockdown unit is specifically for mental health. It is specifically, but it's for mental health with adults. And what's happened is her case is called a special because she is under 18. And what they're doing is they're keeping her safe. That's all they can do at the moment. There's no interventions. There's no therapy. There's nothing. And I'm absolutely terrified. I'm waiting for the phone call to say we're sending her home. She's told me last night if she goes home, she is going to kill herself. It's like looking at a stranger. I'm looking on what happened to my daughter. What has happened to her? And even, when you think about it, personality disorder, the person changes. We're 11 days into this. She still feels the same. How can that be personality disorder?
For those of you who just joined us, I'm talking with a lady called Anne who's talking about her daughter who over the last couple of months has rapidly deteriorated in her mental health. She has been suicidal. She has self-harmed quite dramatically, crushing glass on her bare hands. She's always had medical issues though, Anne, has she?
She had a rare, she was diagnosed with something when she was 14. It was a rare condition. It has nothing to do with mental health. And she did have to go through chemotherapy treatment and steroids. Now, I believe that the steroids may have played a part in affecting her mental health. I don't know. But again, it's hindsight. This is all hindsight. I don't know. And I need to be careful with that as well.
No, I understand that. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But she did suffer. But she was a healthy child. There was no issues as a child. I suppose I am separated from her father. There was domestic violence. That we are survivors of that. Whether that was something that's coming up now as she's becoming an adult, I don't know.
All right. Our telephone number is
all hindsight.
Our telephone number is 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98 if you have any suggestions or advice for Anne, whose daughter, as we speak, is in a particular hospital, isn't getting the care she needs. Anne is now terrified that, as happened in another hospital, she's just going to be told to leave.
And that I don't want that.
That there's no. As a matter of interest, when will she be 18?
She's 18 in 6 weeks.
Oh, in 6 weeks, okay.
Yeah.
But 6 weeks mightn't be long enough if she gets thrown out of where she is.
She is insisting, and she needs intensive therapy to get through this very difficult, whatever's going on in her head. She needs intensive therapy to get through this. And 1 hour a week in the community is not
cutting the mustard. No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. We're traumatised as a family. Just looking on and waiting for
That's what I was about to ask you. What is it like as a mother looking on at your daughter on a self-destruction path?
I had to get my daughter sectioned last week, and I will never forget. 5 guards in my home, 4 ambulance crew, everybody in my house, my son, witnessing her friends trying to support her through this as well. And just what we witnessed has been horrific. My other daughter has had to go and stay with somebody, because she's in a crucial stage of college education and she can't deal with the pressure of what's going on, and our family is chaotic, is the only word to describe this.
Have you been in contact with Lynn Dara? Have you ever heard of Lynn Dara?
I have.
Yeah, and have you been in touch with them?
No comment. There has been some intervention there, but I've no faith in it, and neither does my daughter. She was told to keep herself busy, to get busy. And she said, but
this was the advice from Lynn Dara?
Yes, get busy. You need to do something. You need to get busy. Because of her age, Lindara had to actually go in and speak to her for an hour yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she told her. And my daughter's looking at her going, I was in college, I was busy, and this still happened. It's like they almost don't believe what's going on.
Okay, stay there for a second.
I believe her.
Okay, stay there. Christine, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Christine?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, Christine. Tell me what happened to you.
Well, I was 15 when I started self-harming. Then in July last year, I was put into a psychiatric unit because I tried to kill myself. I bottled myself in the neck and cut my arms. And my mum just was in the same situation as that woman. She just couldn't take it anymore.
And where were you treated?
Connolly Hospital.
In Blanche?
Yeah.
And what age were you?
I was 20.
Okay, so that's easy. This is the big difference here, Christine, that you were an adult in 6 weeks. Anne's daughter.
There was a fella there that I know that he was only 17. They don't actually help you.
No,
they literally do not help you at all. Like, you get your laces taken off you, everything like that you can self-harm with gets taken off you, and then once you progress, they give it all back to you. They gave all my stuff back, and one day I was just like, no, I don't even want to be in a psychiatric unit. And I told the nurse, and she's meant to actually, the minute you say it to her, she's meant to go to her room and search her room and take all your laces off you. She literally just told me to walk around the courtyard and left me with laces.
Oh my God.
So how did you get better?
Yeah.
I was literally just looking at all the stuff that I did to my ma. Like, my ma ended up in hospital. She took panic attacks and everything. Like, her health went down. And it's literally like I was just helping myself. And I was just attending my doctor, Austin O'Carroll. He's in Dorset Family Practice. And he helped me an awful lot. He got me into counselling and stuff like that. So I'd actually recommend that woman to actually take her daughter down to him, because he deals with loads of self-harm. He was giving me techniques to use and all, like, where I felt like I wanted to self-harm, rub ice on it. And that actually helped, because it kind of like, it gives you a numbing pain. Mm-hmm. So that helps, or even just get
sorry, this man you're talking about, Austin O'Carroll, he's just a GP, is he?
He's a GP, yeah, but he's like the highest GP in the world. But he's very good. Like, he has helped me so much with my self-harm and all. Like, he sits there and actually takes the time to talk to you more than an actual counsellor will.
Okay, I've made a note of his name, and I'm sure Anne will as well.
Oh, she's a great young lady, Christine.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
Really are.
Yeah,
you really are. I
it's
suppose
just like what I've been
like,
through, her daughter was going through the exact same, and it's a horrible situation. And what you're going through yourself, my mum was going through that. She had guards up at her door, ambulance up at her door. Like, I was actually banned from my mum's house because of all the trouble that I brought to her door with my self-harm.
But Christine, you were suffering. Your mental health was suffering. So
it wasn't
it's not
health,
trouble. Do you know what I mean? You're genuinely going through something. Now, it is tearing me apart as her mum, but I will do anything to protect my daughter. And at the moment,
that's the exact same as what my mum is. Like, when I went up to the Mater Hospital when I bottled myself in my neck, they just gave me stitches and told me to go home.
Really?
Literally, they gave me stitches.
They don't care.
As if you'd been assaulted by somebody, as opposed to doing it to yourself.
No.
No, I mean, they sent you home as if you'd just been assaulted by somebody.
Yeah, literally, that's what he did. I went up there at 12 o'clock midday, and I got out at 8 o'clock that night. And
even though these were self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, and they weren't cleaned until 7:30 that night. I was left sitting in a room that, like, you'd put, like, if security was outside, and they did not get cleaned. My dad was there, and they just kept coming in, checking, and you could see that the blood was still coming out, and he just gave me tissue.
But even though you were a danger to yourself, even though you had inflicted this injury with a bottle in your neck...
Yeah, and it wasn't even a clean bottle as well. It was a bottle off the street.
You were back on the street a couple of hours later?
Yeah, I was back out at 8 o'clock that night.
Wow.
Well, they were going
The
to put my
hospitals
daughter
don't
into
care.
a homeless shelter instead of helping her.
And that's what they tried to do with me when in the psychiatric unit. They were discharged me, and I told them, like, I'm not ready to go, like, I still feel suicidal. And they literally just signed the discharge form and gave me a number to ring to go to a homeless hostel.
Oh my God.
Let me bring in another call. And this lady is Linda, who's from the Enough is Enough campaign. Linda, tell me about your campaign.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I suppose our campaign was started up by parents who feel we've been constantly failed by the system, by the HSE, by the government, for children with disabilities, mental health issues, and serious illness. And it was like, and I've been talking to her this morning, I'm so livid on her behalf, because we're constantly told if you have a mental health illness,
Yes,
seek help.
absolutely. In fact, there's adverts on the radio telling us to do this.
It is, and yet you have this young girl who is 17 who is bravely speaking out and saying, I am not well, I need help, and yet she is being dismissed. And not only is she being dismissed, her mother is being dismissed. Her mother also has another child with a disability. She can't be in two places at once. If her health goes down because of this, she is not going to not only look after herself, she's not going to be able to look after her children. And yet this hospital is not doing anything to help her. And
So
she's not alone in this.
And that's what I'm gathering, I have to say, Linda. I didn't realise. I knew for adults our mental health services are improving and have improved quite dramatically over the last 10 years. But I didn't realise that caught in the middle is those teenagers who desperately need help, and when they're in a situation like Anne's daughter, they're literally being thrown out in the street.
I speak to parents every week, parents of children as young as 8 and 9 years of age who have tried to commit suicide, who have went and sought help, who have begged and cried and pleaded for help, and they are constantly being ignored and sent home. Parents are being sent home on 24-hour suicide watch for their children, have had to hide laces, knives, medication, anything you can imagine that you would have in your house, or even as far as locking them into a bedroom and one parent taking it in turns with either a relative, a friend, their partner, to take it in turns to sit in that room to ensure that their child cannot end their life. This is happening every day, and these parents and these children are being ignored, and it is not acceptable.
So what can Anne do, Linda, realistically?
Anne, I suppose, listen, as parents can only do so much, and Anne is doing everything that she possibly can do. She may not feel that, she may not think that, but she is doing amazing. This is down to government, this is down to ministers, this is down to the HSE. They are not doing enough.
Okay, but unfortunately, it's not enough right now to say, we need this to be done, we need that to be done. Realistically, what can Anne do for her daughter to ensure that she gets the help that she so desperately needs right now? Not in 6 months, not in a year.
She needs to refuse to take her daughter home, as hard as that is. She needs to refuse that.
Yeah.
And she needs to demand that a bed is sought in a paediatric unit that has capacity for inpatient beds to treat her daughter. Her daughter needs treatment today, not next week, not next month. She needs treatment today. And Anne also needs support at home, whether it be emergency home support hours or emergency respite, so that she has the time to look after both her child with a disability at home and her daughter who is in hospital. She is one parent trying to split herself in two. So she needs the hospital to immediately find an inpatient bed where her daughter can receive treatment, not just be kept safe, but receive treatment, effective and efficiently receive treatment. And then she also needs the support at home while this is ongoing.
Yeah, I agree.
I have to say, this is an eye-opener for me, because like I said, I have known people who've been treated by mental health services here, who have made a recovery, who are living happy, healthy and productive lives now. But the difference is they're all adults. Everyone I'm speaking about that I know personally are all adults. And it is shocking to hear that once you're under the age of 18, there's nothing there for you. And
there is nothing. There's not even even a lot of the outpatient, like CAMS, the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, the waiting lists for those services, just for the first initial appointments, are horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Children have lost their lives. Parents have buried their children because they have not received adequate help and timely help. That has to stop. We cannot continue to allow young people to be ending their lives because of waiting lists and because they're saying, oh, there's no funding. That is not an adequate excuse. That cannot be said to parents. These children need help, and they need help now. There has to be paediatric units, emergency 24/7 units in every hospital with bed capacity for inpatient care for those who really need care right here, right now, who cannot wait another day, who cannot wait another week. And that has to happen now. They cannot be continued to be ignored. The HSE and the government already have blood on their hands. There is parents out there who are mourning the loss of their child every single day.
In fact, I'm looking at your page here, and this will show you how sad it is. And in fact, this is a post, I assume, by you, Linda, and it says, I am posting this for a parent who unfortunately has been left with no choice but to go on the radio this morning. Please listen in and support her. This is her horrendous experience, and this could be any one of us. And that's how bad this is, and that you feel that you have no choice but to resort to the radio to get help for your daughter before she's released from hospital and before she takes her life.
Before she takes her life, and she has said it. Ma'am, she said to the doctor, how do I stop myself from killing myself? I have never heard my daughter speak like that before, ever. It's absolutely terrifying what's going on. And even to be left in the dark myself and not knowing, and I'm ringing every morning, how is she? Is she okay? Yeah, she's okay. But, can you get a doctor to ring me? Nobody's ringing me. I don't know what is going on. He'll see you tomorrow. Then there's nothing tomorrow. It's just horrendous. Everything is up in the air. And, even with that now, my son has appointments today as well. So I'm juggling his appointments, getting into the hospital and just trying to, hold everything together for the family. But, she needs urgent intervention. There are beds for under 18s, but there's not enough. That hospital, before she was sent into the over 18s facility, they had to get a no from every single place in Ireland. Now, I don't know where they are or, in the country, how many of them there are. But they had to get a no from all the under 18s facilities before she was admitted to the hospital.
And now they want her out.
And that took all day. And then I was waiting all day to bring her, to transfer her over to this particular hospital. And I had to leave at 4 because my son was having a meltdown. He was crying. He wouldn't get out of the car. He was just distressed. An hour later, I got a call to say that she was en route to the hospital with a carer and in a taxi. So you can imagine how much that cost the state as well, all the running around while I was hanging around to bring her to this facility, but told, no, you need to wait.
But then in this hospital, speaking to a psychiatrist, he was talking about her returning home. And for those of you who may have missed this is what she said, but how do I stop myself from killing myself? I can't. Those words must be ringing in your ears.
Constantly. I cannot get my head around it. I'm looking at everything in the house going, what do I need to hide? What do I need to do? She walked out of the house like a robot the other night, and I had to get my neighbours. I was too distressed to drive. My neighbour's a guard, and I had to get him to help me to find her because I was so distressed I couldn't get in the car, and I explained to him what was going on. And lucky he had training in that area, and he knew what to say to her to get her back into his car. Lucky he found her.
And you were saying to me earlier on about the train tracks.
Oh God, I can't even. And she didn't tell anyone this. Her friend asked her after, what were you doing? Where were you going? And she just said it then, in a robotic state, I was going down to line the tracks. And then the nurse asked her after, why were you doing that? She said, because it would be over so quickly. And they said, but do you not realise that might hurt you? She goes, by the time I felt the pain, I'd be dead. I just can't deal. It's just so difficult to deal with this. I just want my daughter back.
Oh my God! I have to say, Anne, you leaving me speechless because
it's so distressing.
we have. It sounds like your mental health is now being affected by this as well. Trying to be strong for your daughter.
I'm trying to get help. I want them to listen and believe our family when we say that this is not my daughter, that she needs help. She cannot be returned to the community until she has proper intervention, or she's going to die. And I want them to put that in writing if they're letting her go, why they're going to let her go. Because it's not fair to push that responsibility on a parent that can't keep their child safe. I cannot keep her safe.
Sorry, I had a call on line 4, lads. If you can get that call back, please, on line 4. Like I said to you a couple of minutes ago, Anne, the mental health services in this country have improved quite dramatically over the last 10 or 15 years. But it appears to me that for anybody...
Not when someone's in crisis.
Yes, or under the age of 18.
They keep throwing her age at me, but I'm like, find somewhere then that will help her. Find a suitable place for her. You know, and this personality disorder that's been thrown at, the amount of people that have said to me, oh yeah, that was thrown at my daughter, that was thrown at my... Like, why are they doing that? That's taking responsibility away from them and saying, well, we'll send her home. She has this, you know, personality disorder. We can't treat that. That's a cop-out. To me, that's a cop-out. And the DSM-4 and 5 says you must be over 18 to get that diagnosis.
And we've been sent in lots of suggestions for different clinics and youth services that are available that our listeners have used. But we're going to put you. We're going to give you all the details of all the ones. Maybe some of them are ones that you may not have heard of. And we're going to contact you as soon as you're finished this interview, and we will put you in touch with all of the... And we've had a lot of messages in from people. I'm in tears listening to that woman and her situation. The HSE needs to help her. That's their job. I'm sure we know that. And a lot of people just
She needs intensive in-house therapy for at least 6 weeks until she gets out of this mindset that she's stuck in. Like, we are 11 days into this. Someone with personality disorder will be in and out of it. She's not out of it at all. She is constantly saying, this is how she feels.
And we're going to keep in touch with you. We're going to get in touch with you as soon as this interview is over.
Appreciate it.
Linda, who was on a moment ago, their campaign is called is Enough is Enough, Every Voice Counts. If you type that into Facebook, you will find their Facebook page, Enough is Enough, Every Voice Counts. And it's to highlight issues like this, particularly for young people and the health service. And I wish you well. We're going to keep in touch with you, and we'll be in touch with you as soon as we're finished here. Thanks very much indeed.
Bye-bye.
That's so sad, isn't it? This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.